Please don't harass anyone in this video. I believe like most people can change, and Mushroom Girl including can change. I apologize for my bad speaking. I have a neurological condition, so yeah, it's hard for me to like put my words together, and I'm unable to read off paper and like speak out loud. So I have to do this unscripted, but I hope you can enjoy it despite that. I added captions so you can understand what I'm trying to say when I mess up on my words. Thank you for understanding. Content warning: this video contains topics of pedophilia, grooming, etc. Like anything on that. So if you're not feeling like well, don't watch this video. Hi and welcome to the video. So today's topic is on Mushroom Girl, who is a small commentary channel who usually makes videos on the art community and issues in the art community. Recently, Mushroom Girl has gotten herself into controversy for expressing her support for proshippers. And if you don't know what a proshipper is, it's someone who believes all fiction should exist, as long as it stays fictional. Even problematic fiction such as child porn, pedophilia, even if it's in a positive light. She can't seem to recognize how harmful this is, and she says fiction does affect reality. She's very aware that fiction affects reality. However, she believes this content should still exist despite that. This personally really baffles me. Like, you know it's bad. I really don't understand. So I'm aware I don't make videos like this, but I really want to talk about this because proshipping is something that has affected me and caused a lot of trauma to me. I've definitely shown this a few times in my event videos. So yeah, I've obviously been very anti-proship for a long time. Anyways, enough yapping, I'll get on to the video.
So, what do I think about proshippers? Well, I refer to myself as pro-fix, so that should tell you everything that you need to know. I 100% agree with the general mindset that proshippers believe in. Fiction is fiction, and as long as it stays completely fictional, there's no harm being done by creating fictional works with taboo themes. I think that the censorship of fictional works is harmful to artists and writers, and is an insanely slippery slope to go down. I personally believe that anti-ship beliefs come from a personal disgust of certain content, and they think that just because it makes them uncomfortable and reminds them of real-life harmful and taboo subjects, it must be harmful in some way.
Mushroom Girl suggests that people who are against proshipping are usually only against it because of their own personal disgust, rather than it being wrong to be a proshipper, which is simply just wrong, but I'll get into why it's wrong later on.
If young impressionable children see content that's romanticizing pedophilia, incest, and abuse, they might think those behaviors are okay in real life.
I agree with this statement at face value, though there's one simple solution to this. Don't let this content get into the hands of people who are too young to properly differentiate fiction from reality. Unless that content is being deliberately shown to children or posted on websites made for kids, it's not proshippers' fault if children find that content. These works should have mature content warnings on them, and if they don't, then that's the individual creator's fault, not the fault of the proship community or mindset as a whole.
Suggesting that proship content can exist as long as it's got the right warnings is wrong, because adults can be influenced to do bad things. It's not just children who are impressionable. People can develop paraphilias from consuming certain content. That's why proship content isn't good, because adults can develop paraphilias if they're exposed to certain sexual content. Victims of any sexual violence are more prone to developing these type of paraphilias, actually. So yeah, I just don't think that's a good point to make.
Proshippers aren't babysitters. They are not responsible for your fucking kids.
Again, it's not the kids that you need to be worried about. Adults can be negatively affected by this content.
Lolicon, Showicon, and shipping that has pedophilic implications does not turn people into pedophiles. People who already have these real-life desires may enjoy the same things in fiction for pretty fucking obvious reasons. The same reasons why someone who likes stabbing people to death in real life in his off time would enjoy watching slasher movies. Yet that does not mean that everyone who enjoys the slasher genre wants to hurt people in real life, or that the genre shouldn't exist. Hell, people have already committed crimes based on violent works of fiction, and I don't see any antis claiming that these works shouldn't exist.
Whilst yes, looking at Lolicon may not instantly turn you into a pedophile, if you're constantly consuming that media, you can develop a paraphilia, whether you're an adult or child. Developing an attraction to this stuff can be debilitating, especially when you don't actually want to act on it. And this fictional media will make it worse. Looking at it will make this worse. If you are constantly engaging in an addiction, it's going to make it worse. And pretending like it's not is just very ignorant.
that anti-shippers usually only throw a fit about dark media when it's sexual or romantic, which is a really weird specificity to have, but it's most likely based on moronic, anti-kink, and anti-porn beliefs. But it makes them look really silly when you see anti-shippers eating up dark, morally questionable, and violent content, but throwing a fit on the ground like a toddler when they see someone enjoying similarly dark, morally questionable, and violent content because it's just a tad horny.
The human brain doesn't process sexual and murder as the same way. So trying to compare the two is like trying to compare like sand and water. Like you can't compare the two. They're completely different things and they're completely processed different ways. Yes, murder and sexual abuse are both bad things. However, the brain processes them very differently, even for people who want to go out and kill someone. Something also that shouldn't be ignored is that pedophilia is a way more prevalent issue than murder. So someone is more likely to have pedophilic interest than murder in most cases. This can be completely circumstantial though. Someone could have desires to murder someone if they're abusive, etc. But overall, it is way less common for someone to want to murder someone than to have pedophilic thoughts. I see a lot of pro-shippers use that argument to try and justify that type of content, but yeah, it really falls flat when you consider the difference between sexual desires and desires to murder someone.
Lolicon is illegal, so it must be morally wrong.
Are we really going to argue that the legality of certain actions dictates the morality of them? Really? Is that really where we're going here? First of all, what laws are we talking about here? Each country has its own laws that differ from each other, and I am very sure that you could find somewhere in the world that does not have any kind of law against lolicon. Saying that legality equals morality makes no sense because laws from different places contradict each other.
This point is kind of just a nothing burger. Like, I don't really understand what the legality has got to do with if something is bad or not. In some countries, it is allowed for parents to operate on their own kids and change how their child's genitals look for the approval of creepy old men. We're trying to say that, oh, well, it's not even illegal some places, but also laws don't matter. So which one is it? Do laws matter or not?
Let's hear it.
Rape is inherently worse than murder, which is why you can portray one in a fictional setting and not the other.
That is entirely subjective? How is rape worse? By what standard? I mean, you're completely valid to have that view, but that doesn't mean it should be an objective standard to base the moral validity of fiction off of. The morality of murder versus rape is a very complicated and nuanced discussion to be had, so boiling it down to rape is worse than murder because I said so, period, end of discussion, is useless. Again, you can totally have that viewpoint, but it's just that, a viewpoint, a singular fucking viewpoint. Your personal view on the morality of rape and murder do not prove anything in this discussion other than the fact that you have an opinion, I guess. An argument antis often use to justify their viewpoint is that murder can be justifiable or accidental while rape cannot be. This is completely untrue, like factually untrue. When you look up the definition of murder, Oxford Dictionary says the following: the unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. First of all, accidental murder is out of the picture because it needs to be premeditated, aka planned out or thought through beforehand. Accidental murder doesn't fucking exist.
Well, yes, you can't say that rape is worse than murder. You can definitely realize that rape is significantly more common than murder. It's way more of an issue and a concern that someone will develop an attraction towards children or develop a paraphilia than to get urges to murder someone. And again, the way the brain processes murder and sexual desires is completely different. You can't compare the two.
The thing is, my opinions on lolicons are not positive, but at the end of the day, if they're not being creepy towards real children, I could give less of a fuck. I'm just gonna ignore their existence because it's not my business.
If you recognize that lolicon is bad, then why do you defend its existence? Why do you feel okay with it existing?
If fiction doesn't affect reality, then how does propaganda work? What about deepfakes that can harm the people being deepfaked? What about the Truman delusion?
Okay, first of all, fiction does affect reality. I don't think most pro-shippers are arguing against you on that. It doesn't affect reality to a 1-to-1 ratio, but it does in fact affect reality.
If you can recognize the side effects of pro-shipping, then why do you still defend it?
It's okay if you portray dark themes in media as long as you don't romanticize or sexualize them.
This argument often comes from a good place, and it seems sound and justified at a first glance. But I have a few issues with this argument, so many issues in fact, that I made a whole video on this specific argument. If you want my full opinion where I go into depth about the discussion of the morality of romanticization, watch that video, link in the description. For the lazy people though, do not worry, I will summarize. Romanticization isn't inherently harmful, at least in my personal opinion based on my interpretation of the definition. To romanticize something in a piece of media, be it visual art or written stories, you just need to make the dark or upsetting subjects depicted look better than they are in reality. If you draw gore in any style that isn't hyper-realistic, it's technically romanticization.
It doesn't have to be hyper-realistic to make it not romanticized. That doesn't even make sense. Anyways, here's my diagram of washing hands. I'm currently romanticizing washing hands, guys.
Sexualization of dark themes in a piece of media is also not really inherently harmful. The sexualization of these themes could be done for a number of reasons, someone's personal fetish being only one of them. And even if it was someone's fetish, that's none of your damn business and isn't something you should be demonizing someone over.
Being attracted to children isn't a fetish, it's a paraphilia, a mental illness. It's not a good thing to have. It doesn't make them a bad person, but it's not a good thing to have. Saying that it's okay for them to indulge in that illness that they have, it will encourage their disorder to get worse. And it's irresponsible to promote that type of coping. Okay, that's all of her main points out of the way. The rest is kind of miscellaneous stuff. Like, she goes into detail about how being a fujoshi is okay and stuff, which I don't know how I feel about it personally. Mushroom Girl also made a video responding to all of the controversy, but it's not very good and she just goes over the same points that are in this video. However, there are a few new things that she says and developments to the drama that I want to talk about, so let's go into that video.
People are also trying to drag my friend Soph the Neko into this and saying that a very simple disagreement over fiction means that she needs to cut me off forever.
I personally don't agree that people should harass your friend or say mean things about them for not talking you out of your viewpoints. It's your responsibility to change as a person, and no one else can change you but yourself.
Because being a pro-shipper isn't a bad thing in the first place. This also proves that you anti-weirdos will burn people who generally agree with you at the stake, just because they think pro-shipping isn't a fucking reason to end a perfectly healthy friendship. God, this is a cult, I swear.
Just because we don't think child porn should be made doesn't mean we're a cult. That's ridiculous. You think everyone else who doesn't agree with you is ridiculous, and that's just kind of funny.
A few people also said that I faked my speech impediment. I don't. This is literally just how I sound. I have the same speech impediment in every video, including my first ever commentary video.
Yes, I think it's wrong that people are saying that you fake your speech impediment, and I think that's really cruel as well. I think if people want to criticize Mushroom Girl, they should do it without insulting her or her issues. We can have a peaceful discussion without being ableist.
I don't enjoy lolicon, I don't enjoy pedophilic or incestual ships. I'm literally just someone defending its right to exist.
Why are you defending its right to exist when you know it's harmful?
People have been asking why the fuck I changed my opinion on pro-shipping, because people kind of assumed that I woke up one day and then said, I love pro-shipping and I love lolicons. No, that's not what happened. I literally just matured as a person.
I know you don't realize it, but saying that you accepting child porn is you maturing as a person is really dangerous to say. This is because a lot of children will want to seem mature, so that'll if you're saying oh, pro-shipping is the mature option, children are going to be like, I want to be mature because, you know, they're children, they want to be taken seriously, because children are often not taken seriously. It's really harmful to give this viewpoint, and I really hope you learn to do better.
My old video on pro-shipping is 2 years old at this point. Sure, it says 1 year, but if you click on it, it's more close to 2 years. My switch in opinion can mostly be credited to listening to people who didn't really have an opinion at all on pro-shipping and just what they thought about fiction in general, without this whole chronically online discourse bullshit in their way, fogging up their view.
Again, shaming people for not following the same viewpoint as you is extremely dangerous, especially when it comes to a serious topic like this. I don't know if this is intentional or not, but it really seems like it is, and I really hope you learn to stop trying to convince people in this type of way. The tactic of shaming people usually only victimizes vulnerable people, and you're doing that.
Why am I allowed to draw fictional cutesy self-harm, but somebody isn't allowed to draw fictional cutesy pedophilia? It doesn't make sense.
Cutesy fictional pedophilia. Okay. Also, comparing self-harm and pedophilia is completely different. Again, you can't compare the two. I don't know why you keep on trying to compare two things that aren't the same. Anyways, like I said, the response video just repeats the same points as the original pro-shipping video, so I'm gonna show a few clips from a debate video with Mushroom Girl and another commentary YouTuber called Graceful. But even from that 1 hour and 40-minute video, I can only pull a few clips because she just repeats the same opinions from her original video. Which makes sense, her standpoint isn't changing, she's just very stubborn and continuing to be in this harmful mindset, despite the majority of people telling her how harmful her view is.
Do you think maturing is realizing trying children sexually is okay? Do you think that's maturing?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that one speaks for itself.
Any type of child influence a fucking pedophile to go out there and do something.
I don't think, oh my god, I don't even think real child
influences them in
Are you
bad because
fucking stupid?
Her viewpoints and the way she encourages them is really harmful, and I can only imagine that there's younger people watching her videos and being like, yeah, I want to be mature, I want to have the right opinion, and then thinking that her opinion is actually good. And if you're a pro shipper and you're watching this, hi, I hope you can get help one day. I was a victim of a pro shipper, let's say. And I can only tell you that it made me feel a lot worse. It didn't help me to cope with anything. Any excuse they give you, oh, it's helping me cope, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's just making them desensitized to their trauma. You are not being helped by drawing child porn. That is not going to solve your trauma. But yeah, I think that's what I have to say for this matter. I really wanted to speak about this because of what I've personally been through. And I hope you can understand. And just a reminder not to harass anyone in the video. Like, people will learn if they want to learn, and Mushroom Girl clearly doesn't want to learn. Thank you. Bye.